Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another edition of Lovin Daily. I am your host, Jonathan Chilia, joined by my co-host, Tim Diacono. It's nearly the weekend, man. Are you excited?
Pretty excited, yeah.
Yeah, you got plans for the weekend?
I'll make them.
I'm actually off tomorrow, so my weekend starts tomorrow, so I'm about to get into it. But forget about the weekend. Before we get to that, we got some big stories. So, a bit of movement on this whole construction industry debate. Yesterday, finally, it seems that Prime Minister Robert Abela has set up an ad hoc committee that's going to take stock of the construction industry and indeed draw up some much needed revisions. I mean, this is quite a good development. It's made up of four people. We've got former judge Lawrence Quintana. We've got engineer Adrian Mifsud, architect Mario Kassar, and lawyer Mark Simiana, and surprisingly, no Robert Musumeci.
Well, yes, John, like you said, this committee has been set up to take stock of the situation in terms of construction laws and to propose new regulations. Now, the thing is, this is probably going to end up a bunch of architects debating over whether the law is strong enough, whether it could be stronger. Fair enough, that discussion needs to be had. But at the end of the day, what's really missing in this country is enforcement. So we need a very strong government body, which is the Building Regulations Agency. I think it's been rebranded recently. And it's really understaffed. So apparently it has fewer than 10 people working there.
Oh, wow.
The office closes at 2 p.m., which is absolutely crazy. And they just can't keep up. So at the end of the day, you can have the most perfect law in the world. If there's no enforcement, nothing's going to happen, right? Nothing's going to happen. And also, I must note there's a situation still, unfortunately, in terms of the previous victims of last year's house collapses. So, people like Janet Walker, right?
Yeah.
They attended the protest last week, and they're still complaining about the situation. And I think if Robert Abela really wants to send a powerful message to Malta about his commitment to tackle this problem, the first thing he should do is make sure these people's problems are completely sorted out.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what they must be going through. I mean, it's been months of this, obviously. So what can we expect from this committee? I mean, so they're going to propose some revisions, but really and truly, what can we expect? Best case scenario?
Best case scenario, we'll expect them to propose ways the construction laws can become more rigorous. There will be more checks and balances, and perhaps more studies on excavation and demolition works and construction to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But then again, it doesn't ensure that people don't break the law, right?
Damn right.
It doesn't ensure that people don't break the law. So again, enforcement is going to be key here. Moving on from this and onto another related story in terms of the tragic death of Miriam Patch, there's quite a lot of debate going on, a lot of discussion going on at the moment about Zico, the CPD's German Shepherd, who played a crucial role in uncovering the body of Miriam Patch from underneath the rubble. And he got injured in the process, and people are calling him the hero of this operation. And what I find interesting about this is that there was a lot of technology used to uncover the body. There were high-tech, rubble-penetrating cameras, and yet the dog's keen sense of smell still played a crucial role in the recovery of the body. So, yeah.
That's exactly it. So, I mean, if you haven't seen these stories, you can find all of them on lovinmalta.com. But this story, basically, we've got a 7-year-old German Shepherd who works with the Civil Protection Unit. And this dog was involved in finding Miriam's body. And as you pointed out, we had 2 high-tech cameras. We had several officers on site. Yet it was actually the dog that located Miriam's body. So he was injured in the process, right?
Yeah, he was. He got a few scratches, and they don't seem to be serious. But yes, it's. I think people should know about the role that animals do still play, the crucial role animals still play in a world that's becomes, the way technology has become so important in absolutely everything.
100%. Zico's actually part of the K9 unit. His trainer is Stephen Frigeri. I think they've been together for quite a few years, so they have quite a strong bond. And it's really, really important, as you pointed out, that we keep moving forward with technology. But clearly, even dogs have some serious benefit to give us in these searches. So on the topic of Miriam, has the funeral been announced yet?
The funeral is going to take place later on this afternoon in Valletta, and yes, it's going to be probably a pretty emotional affair.
I mean, talking about emotion, there was another story that we covered yesterday that got quite a strong reaction. I don't know if you saw this. William Hawke, Coronavirus Updates Facebook group. It's a bit of a doozy. So if you're not aware, there's a group called Coronavirus Updates Malta. I think we had covered it in an episode of Lovin Daily last week.
It's not his real name, right?
We'll get to that. The group had about 20,000 followers last week. It's already up to 33,000 followers. So a lot of people are going to this group for information on the coronavirus in Malta. The issue is, we're not really sure how reliable the information is. A lot of it seems to be panic-driven. People are talking of World War III. People are talking about an ensuing pandemic. And then the fact, I don't know if you heard yesterday, that there actually happens to be 2 strains of coronavirus, one more aggressive than the other, isn't helping anything at all. But the issue really came in when this guy who's behind the group, William Hawke, promoted a website selling masks. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but there's not that many masks left in Malta. Apparently, they've been all bought up. There's rumors that they might have been sent abroad to China. And a website is now selling masks for really, really high prices. I think about 160 euros for a pack of 10.
Yeah. It's quite a funny world we live in, where you can buy a week-long cruise to the Caribbean for $600 and a pack of masks goes for like 150. Look, guys, there is obviously a lot of fear about the coronavirus out there right now, but there's also avenues of correct information should you wish to access them. So the government of Malta recently actually published its own website specifically dedicated to, the coronavirus, for everything from symptoms, what to do, how to react, and even to how to, while the time away while in self-quarantine.
Not a bad idea.
The information is out there. Unfortunately, whenever there is some pandemic, some fears, people are always going to try and take advantage of them. So just be careful and just do a bit of research before plunging in and wasting your money on a few masks.
I mean, that's exactly it, guys. I mean, I understand there's fears, you might be panicked, but spending 160 on a pack of masks that a few months ago would have gone for a pittance is a bit much. But that said, there is a discussion to be made about this guy, William Hawke, and that's not his real name, it's a pseudonym. We actually spoke to him yesterday, and we've asked him, does he believe what he's saying? Is he involved in the website? He said the website is not his. He said that he was approached to promote the website. Yeah, but it goes back to what you're saying. Honestly, guys, it is the internet. Like 90% of the internet is a bunch of trolls, pop-up ads, stuff you do not want to be clicking on. So just because you're panicking, maybe don't go ahead and pop that 160 euros.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, there's a problem in Gozo now, where Gozitans swimmers still don't have their own national pool. Can you believe this?
It's insane. It's really insane.
So this is an island as tiny as Gozo, surrounded by sea, and yet swimmers have to travel to Malta if they want to practice swimming during the winter. So they spend 4 hours traveling for 1 hour of training. And these are islands we're talking about. It sounds absolutely crazy.
It's an actual embarrassment. So we actually spoke to some trainers, and they've told us, that kids are not practicing the sport of water polo in Gozo because they do not have the facilities to practice water polo.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a Gozitan child wanting to practice water polo, and they told me I had to come up to Malta every time I wanted to practice, I'd choose another sport. I'd choose football or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like practicing football, but without any goalposts, I mean, there was this really sad video, I don't know if you saw it, of the Otters, water polo team practicing. And they're practicing inside a gym, just throwing the water polo ball to each other because they don't have a pool.
Yeah.
quite
Imagine that.
sad,
a
right?
water polo team sat on mats, throwing balls around to practice when they're on an island surrounded by the sea. I mean, the mind boggles, honestly. I don't understand how this could happen.
Yep.
But moving on to our final story for the day, a bit of a tasty one. And a little bit, but also a divisive one. An Attard restaurant, Wood and Coal, have rolled out an interesting new rub on their ribs. It's a dry rub and it's a chocolate rub. It's actually, they're calling it chocolate aged ribs. So yeah, we have a video of this beautiful rack of ribs being covered in this chocolate dry rub. I'm not sure if it's dark chocolate, if it's brown chocolate. All I do know is if you're a meat eater with a sweet tooth, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes when you think, oh, I don't know whether I feel like something sweet, I don't know whether I feel like something savory, this just solves all those problems immediately.
Would you want to try it?
Of course.
You would?
Absolutely.
I mean, look, I love chocolate, I love meat, but...
What kind of meat is it?
I think it was beef ribs. You know, I've tried these type of things. I mean, in Mexico, they do make a mole sauce, which is based off chocolate. So there's definitely lots and lots of chocolate and savory foods.
Yeah, I'm seeing this just, you know, a whole avenue of exploration over here. I'm imagining like, you know, chicken with chocolate over it, turkey, everything.
I love it. Guys, keep on exploring these incredible recipes. Restaurant owners, chefs, keep getting busy in the kitchen because we love that stuff. I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. From me and my co-host Tim Diacono, have a day full of lovin'.